and Hardy on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Let's go.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning. We are Toucher and Hardy, Town Fair Tire Studios, 617-779-0985. You can watch us on YouTube. Subscribe to 98.5 The Sports Hub on YouTube. Big show on the way today. This is I'm starting off hot.
Oh,
I got something I just saw that we can talk about.
Okay.
It's non-sports related.
okay. I have an apology.
Okay, well, go ahead if you want to do that first. Go
Okay,
ahead.
all right. I mean, I'm kind of reluctant to bring it up. There was a guest available today, and I just now saw the email. John, I'm sorry. We could have had John Bush on the show today.
Who's that?
Former Armored Saint singer, the of
Why
Anthrax.
do you know that?
John Bush. I know who John Bush is.
That's right. He sings "Only" by Anthrax. And
Only,
you love that
which is-
song.
I love that
You joined
song.
with that.
Well,
We
he's
used it
the
this morning.
founding member for Armored Saint, former lead singer of Anthrax, talking about their latest single, Hit a Moonshot. And he would have been available today and to talk about not only the formation of their band in 1982, which feels like it was 44 years ago, but also the debut album that arrived 2 years after that, their hit MTV single Can You Deliver, and their U.S. supporting tour of Quiet Riot. And these were all things he was willing to talk about today, and I blew it.
It's okay. You'll hear him talk about it on the 80 Trunk Show tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
I can't
Yeah, he'll
believe-
be on tomorrow. That's right. Like Eddie can't have him on today. Eddie can do whatever he wants with John Bush from Armored Saint. I know who that is. I don't know one Armored Saint song, nor do I know what anyone else in the band looks like.
Well, they got a guy in there who's doing his best Slash impersonation with the sunglasses and the top hat.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
That's an
Well, when Eddie Trunk was doing that Guitar Fest thing, and I do mean Guitar Fest, I know that's something that Dan Roach has said, but when he was doing that, best Axeman thing that Nick went to, two of the guys that were hired guns, big time guitar players that were going to be in it, were on an airplane and they were dressed in floppy hats and scarves. Like they came on the airplane dressed like, like they wanted you to know they were in a band. Pretty,
yeah.
like, they flew out the night before and, they came adorned and festooned with various floppy hats and
Nice.
scarves and rings and things. Like which I found to be annoying. Like when you're on the plane, first of all, they took pictures of themselves in first class because, they wanted you to know that the guitar shredding contest was going to pay that. Now, I don't know if they just sat in first class and then got up and went to their seats.
I think that's likely. Yes.
But, they're having some cocktails and they're just dressed, with like eye makeup on and floppy hats, which I understand on stage.
Yeah.
But just walking around on an airplane to Boston on a, Thursday night seems a little ostentatious.
Yeah.
Right, Eddie. Like, if you have dyed hair and the hair's dyed, that's fine. But, you got to go through a lot of effort to get the floppy hat and scarves out. And that just seems like a little much for the airplane.
Do you ever wonder, like, guys like that, where they purchase those clothes? It's not, you can't go to Kohl's and get a floppy hat and scarves like that. There have to be certain stores that these guys all know about. I used to think about that with the goth kids in high school. Like, where do you get that stuff?
Salvation Army, maybe?
Savers.
I don't know.
Savers? That's good. Good call, 12.
Yeah.
There are, I don't know
Savers
what that is, but there's still goth kids. Like, there still are goth kids. Like, it's pretty amazing how goth kids have, continued to exist in almost the same form for 50 years.
Yeah.
60 years.
And I don't know what's their inspiration now.
I don't know, but right now it's like super. Remember skater pants from like 1994?
Sure.
Like those super, like ridiculously baggy pants that skaters wore for like, I don't know, like I would, and like it's funny because like raver kids wore them too afterwards with those big Dr. Seuss hats.
Yep. And those were cool. Those I was into.
Yeah, I
never wore one, but I desperately wanted one.
I had a T-shirt that I thought was so cool of a guy punching a dude with a floppy or a big Dr. Seuss hat on, and I thought I was real tough because I was wearing that. And what was I going to say? So,
big baggy pants.
Oh, they're big baggy pants, and then they wear like a T-shirt of whatever band they like in big baggy pants. Now, every kid wears sweatpants, girls and boys, baggy sweatpants.
Almost exclusively.
But these are like cargo pants, like big black cargo pants. And so it's just interesting to see them. I'll pick my daughter up from school, and I'll be like, there's still goth kids. Look at this. Congratulations to the goth scene. Keeping it going. And I don't know what goth bands are around anymore. I was never into goth music. I don't know that much about it. But I suppose there's like a My Chemical Romance situation going on there at some point.
Yeah, whatever their inspiration is now and whatever their music is, I don't think it's nearly as gothy as the stuff that the goth kids of the 80s and 90s were into.
No, but
there's no way because goth kids of the 90s and 80s were the gothiest.
Yes.
Wow.
Sisters of Mercy.
He's dead. He's dead.
That was like all my friends' older sisters were into that stuff. That was the generation, like the girls that were in high school in like the mid 80s. They had that Echo and the Bunnymen situation. I know they're not goth, but there was a lot of British alternative music that I did not care for.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It was very female oriented. In fact, I think that goth scene pretty much is, what is this? Peter Murphy? Is that the guy from?
Yep.
And he would come out upside down like as a vampire bat. Oh, look at me. I'm a vampire bat.
A real reptile. Is that the church?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I'm not, I never even like dipped my toe into the goth stuff. I never really understood it. I don't like...
It's just so much work.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Like, you can be like, punk and not like have the mohawk and do the spikes and all that stuff. You can have that punk attitude and not have to dress up for it.
Well, after like the original first wave of punk, that was kind of what it is. Like the Ramones, they just wore jeans and T-shirts. Like Black Flag just wore, jeans or shorts and T-shirts. Like it was like that whole dress down thing.
Yes.
So, I mean, like...
There's no dressing down if you're goth.
No, it's dressing up. A lot of makeup involved. A lot of leather involved.
Mostly avoiding the sun. I think that's priority one.
Yeah.
Well, it's very healthy. I mean, what you can take a vitamin D supplement.
I was just going to say, a vitamin D supplement, and you can get around that.
There was about 10, 15 years ago, there was a movement called health goth. There was a small fashion segment of health goth where you would dress in goth, but you would wear like athletic wear, athleisure. It was all like black sweatpants and black tank tops and things like that.
I like that.
Yeah. Health goth, it was called.
Okay.
So they worked out?
I don't think they worked out. I think they just wore. They were like, oh, let's buy a bunch of like workout clothes in black and dress up goth and still wear goth makeup.
I have a douchey thing like that. When I was in middle school, my parents joined this place called One on One, where Sergei Fedorov used to go with his teen girlfriend Anna Kournikova.
Nice,
right?
One on One was on Maple and
the Quinder.
Maple and it was in Farmington Hills, but it was like this fancy like tennis club. I don't ask me why my parents joined it, but they did. But there was like a workout facility, and they said we'll give you a free. I was in middle school, and they're like, we'll give you a free like training session. And I showed up to the training session with like this baggy like Sid Vicious T-shirt, and then like the guy's like, what do you want to do? And I'm like, well, I play bass, so I'd like to build up my forearm.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And I know the guy was just like, oh, you suck. And what's funny is I was like such a poser because like I wasn't even like that. I don't know what got into me. I don't know why I decided. I probably felt like I was like weak, so I needed to go in and pretend, which is odd because I was playing football. I don't know.
You did not play the bass?
I did.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, but I didn't. I mean, kind of. I owned a bass and was in quote unquote a band. I never really put any work into it. I if you gave me a bass now, I couldn't do much. I can play root down. That's about all I can do. It's not difficult. I never even liked the bass. I just picked it because it seemed easier.
I learned the first part of Ramble On the bass, and then I quit.
Yeah, my ex-wife, like a couple months ago, dropped all this crap at my house that was left over. Like, it was all the stuff that was left over from when I moved out. Who knows? Nothing happened. She just dropped it all over just to be annoying. And there was, like, a guitar of mine. Oh. And I was like, oh, a guitar. And I took it out, and I have a practice amp, and I put it in the basement.
Yeah.
And I've literally never touched it.
Oh.
And I have, like, a beginner guitar book, and I have everything else to try to get dexterity, but I just have no desire to learn how to play guitar.
Do you know what kind of guitar it is? It is
yes,
a Fender,
it's a Stratocaster.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a real good Strat.
Yeah.
It's a real, and I have a tuner for it.
Looks nice.
I tuned it.
Yeah.
And then I just let it sit there and get out of tune.
Probably needs to be tuned again.
Yeah. But I have the humidity right down to the.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want that to warp.
So what came across your field of vision?
I don't know.
here?
I lost it. It was It was something in New York Magazine about how 90% of the things you see on the internet are advertisements. And it was a guy from a company that specialized in it. And he said that everything you see with an influencer, like showing you a movie or a song, has been pumped through these companies that have like 400,000 dummy accounts to trick the algorithm into having you see these things. So right now, like, everything you're seeing on social media from a quote-unquote influencer is paid, whether said or not. It is anything that they are telling you that they're into is either it's a fake influencer, it's a dummy account, or they're a paid influencer, and it's like all just garbage. And people apparently are starting to get hip to that, and so these companies are thinking that they might have to pivot and how they do things. It's funny because, like, with the being in the the evolution and the beginnings of social media, people are still easily duped. It's like War of the Worlds on the radio. Like, people thought it was real, and they panicked. It's we're in this situation with AI and social media and like adjusting to it as humans. It's going to be interesting to see where the tipping point of that is. Because I told you the most interesting thing I heard about AI, and just as it pertained to using the internet as entertainment and information, or more entertainment, if you don't know if something's real or not, like in that, like say it's like a hot girl, like running and her boobs are bouncing up and down. If there's like, it's 50-50 if that's real or not, and you have no way of knowing, you might just go, screw it, I don't want to look at this anymore. Like, there might be a point, everyone's in the camp of people won't care and everyone's going to have an AI girlfriend, and like, that's a pretty doomsday way of like looking at humans. Like, humans have generally adjusted to things. Like, just to assume that everyone's going to spend their life yanking it to fake chicks is a little doomsy. Like, people still, foster relationships and stuff, and you can get every porn that's ever been created. There is just as likely a chance that this all blows up and people just are. I know AI is going to take jobs and it's going to do all these things that are terrible. But in terms of like, social media, it might destroy. There's a chance it could destroy social media, because the whole point of social media was that it was social. You have to remember when Facebook first came out, it was pretty cool. You could see every girl you ever dated.
Yeah, and you could make connections, albeit like, completely technology. This tech wall in between you, but there was still you were making a connection with somebody, even if it was someone you didn't know. Like you say, Fred, like you're looking at somebody and you're looking at a glimpse at them, somehow personally that you wouldn't get otherwise, and if there's even a question as to whether or not it's real or even a portion of it is real, then What are you doing? If it starts to affect that hormone that gets released when you're looking at that stuff, and when you get that connection, chemical, triggered in your brain,
right?
Well, then it just all goes away. If you don't feel compelled to go on social media, because if you're not sure, what it is, and you're not getting the pleasure from it, then you won't go on.
How
anymore.
long before that burns you out? That's the thing. This AI is still relatively new, so I think we're still far away from that particular thing.
It's very new, and so, but it's coming quick. And the thing about, I'll speak for myself with social media and like hot girls, was that there was remember the MySpace parties we used to have? You'd see a hot girl on MySpace, and there was a chance you could get her to come to your thing. Like, you could meet her. And as wild a fantasy as that might have been, and is out there, and it was never going to happen, there was always that little nugget of, there is a woman out there that I, in essence, can communicate with for free. And there is a moonshot that I could bang her, or that I could meet her. And, that was kind of the carrot that was dangling. That was what was different about it. And if it's a fake person, obviously that connection's not there.
Yeah.
It's just an image on a screen. That was the thing. And when Facebook first, I remember where I was. I was in Alston, and I was late to the game, but I was in Alston with Adolfo at a bar. And he's like, yeah, Facebook. And I'm like, oh, it's stupid. And he's like, no, look, you can put someone's name in. So I got an account on my phone and started looking around, and I just started searching girls' names from the past, and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, this is
unbelievable. You can see all these girls that you used to know. It's this incredible, what a day. I remember the day. It was oh my God, Lauren Sikorsky. I was like, oh my God, these girls that I used to date. I haven't seen these girls for 15 years. This is unbelievable. It was so cool. And the MySpace thing was cool. Those MySpace parties were kind of an interesting idea, because you would put a page up for the party. This was at BCN. It was actually something I brought from Atlanta. So you'd have this MySpace page, and then theoretically people could sign up to be a member of the page, and then start talking to each other. So when you got to the party, you kind of already knew the person. In which, for me as the host of the party, I could see that these good-looking girls were coming, and I could, then therefore go oh, good-looking girls are going to be at the party. And we would have lines down the street, and it wasn't that many people were listening to the show. I guarantee you there was more people at those parties than there were listening to the show. That I assure you.
Those are a big deal.
And I think in the infancy of MySpace and Facebook, it was all kind of a party. And when people first show up at a party, very few people just walk in the room and start acting like a dick to everybody.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody's kind of cool and being nice to each other.
Yeah.
Now, any online gathering of anything, there are people who show up specifically just to be a dick. And that's all they're there for.
Because it's their quote-unquote brand. This is what I'm like online. I need to sell myself as this. And away we go.
Yeah.
Well, because if you were the first one to be a dick, you were going to get a lot of attention. And then if you realize negative attention still counts as attention,
Right.
Yeah.
then that is rewarded. That's what happens.
But when it was new, I don't know, people were less likely to do that, or they're just all
Absolutely.
kind of tiptoeing their way around in this stuff.
Right.
Now you can't do anything.
Well, I
you
don't
can't
think
post anything. You can't have any kind of a forum. You can't have any kind of group chat going on. Oh no, it's I would say mostly negative.
And I would think, and I think that's conditioned. I don't think that's people's default mechanism. I think that that's something that, again, the first person that was a dick got a tremendous amount of attention, and then someone saw that and they started doing it themselves, and it went on and on and on. I don't believe that it's a human inclination to get up in the morning and get on the internet and just start crapping all over everything for free. Now, if you're getting paid, that I understand. But just for your own, entertainment as a human being, that's your default setting, I find very difficult to believe. I would like to think that people are more interested in, seeing what girls are going to be at a party than they are to screaming and yelling at the wall about politics. But what do I know? All right, we will be back. We will catch you up with everything that happened last night, including a big run by a very annoying team with a very annoying fan base, and all of a sudden everyone's super fan. Members of the government, everyone's a big fan of this team.
Golden Knights?
Yes, the Golden Knights,
okay.
absolutely.
Right.
We'll be back in just a moment. Look at me. I'm a vampire bat.
Did you catch a game last night?
What happened last night's brought to you by Leonard Transplant Associates, where your hair doesn't have to be a game of what happened, so change your lettuce and change your life with Dr. Matthew Lepresti at 1-800-GET-HAIR. Hardy, what happened last evening?
Well, the Knicks had a chance to sweep their series and find themselves in the NBA playoffs, but first they would have to get past the Cleveland Cavaliers if they were going to make it to the NBA Finals, and we wouldn't really know the answer until at least a few minutes into the first quarter.
Brunson buries a step-up right wing three from the far side over Wade. It's a game-high 9-point New York lead.
And they would extend that lead to 12 by the end of the first, up nearly 20 at the half.
Well, the Knicks scored 20 straight points in the second quarter. That tended to put a damper on things.
Mitchell tried to spin through two defenders on the right side paint. He got stripped. Alvarado walk-up left wing triple. In and out. Tip slam Towns. If there's a second quarter dagger, that might have been it.
Yeah.
It's a 26-point lead.
Game over. Cleveland, I swear to God, as soon as the Knicks scored like the first 10 points of that 20-point run, you could see it just watching it on TV. All right, we're done. We'll score some points to make it look decent. And they couldn't even do that in the second half. The Knicks were up 45 points in the second half.
There's a second
45 points they were up in the second half of an Eastern Conference Finals game. I can't believe they actually put those two teams on the floor together.
And the clock ticks down from 8 to 7 to 6 and all the way to 0. Final score in Game 4, 130 to 93. And the New York Knicks are on their way to the NBA Finals. For the first time since 1999, the Knicks are Eastern Conference champions.
The Knicks won the last 3 games against Atlanta after falling behind 2-1. They swept their last series. They swept this series. They've won 11 straight playoff games. And in those 11 games, they have outscored their opponents by a total of 262 points in 11 games. That is not only the best point differential in playoff history across 11 games, it's the best point differential in NBA history across 11 games of any kind. That's how good this team is right now, at least against Eastern Conference opponents.
I tell you what, it's a credit to the coaching, too. It's, go out there and we're absolutely going to put our foot on the necks of these guys every single night. No let up. There's no room to make anyone think that they have a chance.
Think about where the Knicks were at this time last year. You just lost in 6 games to Indiana, and the Knicks fired their head coach who had gotten them there, Tom Thibodeau, and replaced him with Mike Brown, who has been better as an assistant. He went to the finals once when LeBron was a kid about 20 years ago, but he's been good, not great. And it turned out to be the right move. And because they made the finals, apparently everyone can keep their jobs now. Dolan will relax. So good for them. Good for them. The Knicks were a dominant team, and Cleveland just mailed it in. There was a play early in the first quarter where James Harden took a 3, kept his arm up there like he was in high school in a movie, and walked in about 3 steps after taking that shot and missing it. And Jalen Brunson's like, hey, I'm alone out here. And so they threw the ball out, and Brunson had a walk-in layup at the other end. So really good. James Harden, really good.
Well, according to metrics, they had won 2 of the first 3 games.
I was just going to say, real shame for Cleveland because, forget about the scoreboard for a second. They actually won.
Analytically, I think we've won the I said 3 out of 3. We're 2 out of 3 in the expected. I don't know if you guys follow that. There's an expected score.
The expected score.
The Red Sox fans will remember this. Dan Duquette famously said, no, we finished 3rd in the division, but we spent more days in first place during the season than any other team. That's what that sounds like.
It just is so ridiculous in a zero-sum game that you would I mean, the Celtics are pulling. Well, not the Celtics. Brad Stevens isn't at all, but Jaylen Brown's pulling the same thing. Grandy's pulling the same thing. It's a success because. Well, no, it's not a success. It's not. You got
analytically,
killed.
It is though. They won the expected score game, which they have a separate title for.
What do you think I know why you make yourself think that if you're the coach, but just to keep your sanity. Like, I'm not doing that bad a job. We should have won these games. Like, that's how you keep yourself sane. Mm-hmm. I don't know how you don't see how terrible that sounds when you say it out loud. Like, that's not something you would that's not something I would say to the owner. That's not something I would say to my other coaches.
He isn't a rookie head coach. He's been around a long time. But he should know better.
It's just such a dumb, survival instinct to say out loud. Yeah. There is there's no debating it. It's at the end, that's it. It's you won or lost. Now, crazy things can happen in an individual game, but if you've lost 3 games in a row, it doesn't matter. Regardless of analytics or everything, and we're aware that you were up by a inconceivable amount when you lost that game 1. Mm-hmm. You were up, over 20 with 6 minutes left. It's almost inconceivable that you lost that game. So I understand analytically that you should have won that game because you should have won that game. I don't need analytics to tell me that.
I know. You say, well, Cleveland had a 97% chance of winning game 1. I really didn't need that number. You look at it and you're up 22 points with 6:45 to go. Yeah, you pretty much should have that game.
Well, it was 99.9% if you need to know. But it was as high as you could get.
Sure.
But the thing is that I understand analytics and that they're obviously quite valuable to people. But what pisses me off about analytics is that they, swear by them, but then when you don't win, the analytics are incorrect. They didn't analytically. The game doesn't switch for the analytics.
Yeah.
The analytics need to switch for the outcome of the game. So if the analytics are telling you that you won 2 out of 3 games, the analytics are incorrect. Analytically, you won. That means you have to change the analytics. It's the same thing with the Red Sox. We have this way of doing things. Well, it's not working. So it's not. What are you going to change the rules of baseball? It's whatever you're doing is not working, and it's a pretty long stretch now. So, whatever you're doing in terms of your whole strategy offensively isn't working. So, time to get back to the drawing board. Well, no, this is the way we do things. Well, the way things are done is you are rewarded for winning games, for scoring runs. And when those things aren't happening, guess what? You got to go back to the drawing board. Well, we have a way of operating. We have a way of deciding what players to get. Well, okay, your players aren't performing. So, that's just the way it goes. There's you got to give it some time. Well, you've had time. Why do I need time when you could just change the way you're approaching this? It drives me crazy. If I was an owner, it would drive me so nuts.
Unless the owner is incredibly invested in this.
But if I'm a hedge fund manager or I'm a private equity guy and I have an analytical model to make my clients money, and then for 2 years in a row they're losing 10% of their money, then they're going to go, you're fired. Mm-hmm. And you go, well, no. The market's performing in a kind of crazy way. Well, I could just pay 0.2% to Vanguard and put it in some index fund that's outperforming you. I'm paying you, this ridiculous commission to, beat the market, and you're not beating it. Your analytics are wrong.
At some point, you have to take the Billy Bean admission and just say, my stuff doesn't work in the postseason. It doesn't work all the time.
Yeah. So if I'm the owner, and I generally would imagine I work in analytics all the time because I'm 99.9% in finance, and the guy tells me analytically we won, I'd be like, well, that doesn't make me money.
Yeah.
I want to see a performance. I want to see you achieving this performance. I could understand losing, obviously. There's human beings. And I could understand things going sideways. That's not an excuse, though. It just speaks of not being very smart. to say that out loud.
Yeah. Kenny Atkinson was a good head coach.
I don't doubt he's still a good head coach.
No, but I'm working back towards your point. He was in Brooklyn when Kyrie and Kevin Durant showed up, and they ran him out of town for Steve Nash. I mean, Atkinson had
had that working,
a
right.
bad Brooklyn team playing well.
Yes.
Now he had a pretty good Cleveland team playing well, and he got pantsed in this series. Cleveland is a talented team. They have guys that are talented. Evan Mobley was a Defensive Player of the Year last year. He's an all-star. Donovan Mitchell, Jared Allen is a double-double guy. They have pieces. Strus is your designated three-point shooter, and they had no chance. And Atkinson is partly to blame for this, specifically because of his reliance on analytics, specifically because of his refusal to change after seeing his team get pantsed in game one.
I wonder if
he got exposed here.
How analytics told him that James Harden was in any way the right move. I mean, they beat Detroit, so I guess. I mean, they made the Eastern Conference Finals, which isn't like a failure. It's just you can't justify this series. You can justify losing the series, like a team's got to lose. But it makes me think you're incompetent when you say, well, like in my book, we won. Well, no, there's no book. There's a winner and loser. That's why we do this.
Especially, and you go back to the way it started. If you were good enough to be up 22 with less than 8 minutes to go in any one of these games, and you not only forget about losing that one, you can't figure out a way to take another game in the series or even make it competitive in another game in the series.
Well, here's something analytics won't tell you. When you blow a 20-point lead with 6 minutes left in game one, you can't come back. That it destroys you mentally.
Right.
So
that's partially on the coach. A lot of it is on the coach.
Well, that's what I'm saying is that you can't. The analytics don't tell you that a team completely loses all will to win.
You lose the series when you lose that lead in one of the games,
right?
Especially the first one.
Like you can have great ball movement and whatever percentage of shots or where you won them from on the floor, but when the team is pretty much packed it in.
Yeah, I mean,
there's nothing you can do about it analytically.
You see your opponent score 18 straight points in one game and 20 straight points last night. I understand in today's NBA there are violent runs one way or another, but in a playoff series, that should never happen once, let alone twice.
So there's this is the last thing, and then we'll break. There's a headline on ESPN that says Mamdani, the mayor of New York City, pokes fun at Cavaliers after Knicks reach NBA Finals, and then you go to he got on Twitter, so you look at what he said, and he really stuck it to him. He said, "New York Sanitation, I'd like to report a sweep. Take that, Cleveland." What a misleading headline.
Too soon.
I mean, it pokes fun at Cavaliers. What the hell does that have to do with it's what the hell is that headline? Hurley was in here yesterday talking about how they do those headlines. Some guy in like Kenosha, Wisconsin, because he was talking because Joe was all pissed off about the Nesson article about us feuding with the Part of My Take people, which is nonsense. Because Joe works over at Nesson, and then Hurley was like, "Yeah, like they send out these headline aggregators, and all they do is like write headlines all day, and they're not even in the city, and they're not even associated with the article, and they're just specifically slapped together to draw eyeballs." And my point with that is like, okay, so that works 100 times. What do you do after that? When people just are hip to it again, and they've taught themselves not to click on this stuff because it's just a waste of time. You got to sometimes look a little for the long haul. Everyone very wanting to make their money now. You make your money now at the peril of your money in the future. All right, we'll be back in just a moment. Here are the headlines.
Hey, listen, if you've got to go, we understand, but make sure you bring the Sports Hub app with you so you can hear more of Todger and Hardy.
That's what I want on my tombstone.
On the Sports Hub.
Let's talk briefly about the word no-no was used in one of these headlines, which I wish that were eliminated from the lexicon altogether. But Astros combining for a no-hitter last night against the Rangers.
Santa the 1-2 to Nimmo. Strike three call on the outside corner, and the Astros have thrown a no-hitter. But first a challenge. The call.
Cool. Last out of a no-hitter. Cool.
Trunk is outspoken for his contempt of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, calling it the
Rock and Roll Hall of Shame.
Bingo, calling it the Hall
Sabbath,
of Shame.
Rainbow.
Trunk has blogged and commented over the open air on that metal show his disgust at the Hall for almost entirely ignoring heavy metal and hard rock.
Whatever the hell that means.
Citing examples such as Dio being passed over in favor of Madonna and ABBA.
Dio, Sabbath, Rainbow.
He became a voting member of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2015.
Yeah.
In 2017, Trunk has somewhat backed away from his earlier criticism, citing progress.
Oh.
Enshrining bands such as Rush, Kiss, Cheap Trick, Deep Purple, Def Leppard, and Journey.
Well, now
okay.
he's part of the machine now. You can't make too much noise once you're in there. You can't be, rattling around like a loose ball bearing.
He Trojan horsed his way in that son
right.
bitch and started making changes.
You got to get in there to be subversive.
Yeah,
That's
you got
to be in the room, baby.
You got to change the system. All right, I apologize. So there was I know there was a multi-pitcher no-hitter thrown.
Santa the 1-2 to Nimmo. Strike three, call on the outside corner, and the Astros have thrown a no-hitter. But first a challenge. The call is going to stand, and the Astros are going to complete the 18th no-hitter in Astros history.
All right. Somewhat anticlimactic, but there you go. How do you say the starter's name last night, John?
Imai is his last name.
Tatsuya Imai?
Tatsuya Imai.
All right, so he went 6, and 2 more pitchers getting in there to get the win and the first no-hitter of the season.
Yeah, but it doesn't count. Like it's not something that's very impressive. It's more of an anemic offense than it is a mastery of pitching. Or, brilliant defense. You trotted out a bunch of guys and they happened to miss bats. It's not impressive.
Well, also, Imai walked 3 of the first 4 batters he faced.
Yeah.
So again, not a master
Yeah.
class in pitching. I mean, it was good, but there's a lot of little things about it, and you're like, Eddie Trunk's down. Oh, okay,
It's a no-hitter.
Okay.
It counts.
Yeah,
It is a no-hitter.
Okay.
Yeah, but pitchers with more than one pitcher, who cares? 3 pitchers. Mm-hmm. That's more of an indictment on the Rangers than it is on anyone else. Is that you couldn't get together to hit anybody?
Right.
You get one guy in there. Oh, Mad Dog had a guy on last week. If you really want to get heavy into Sirius satellite radio, who had written a book about Nolan Ryan, and Nolan Ryan of the 7 no-hitters. Mm-hmm. And he was awful wild. I didn't realize how ineffective he was as a pitcher.
I think he led the league in walks at least once, if not more.
Yeah, he took games upon himself, and he would say it's a mano situation. Mm-hmm. Therefore, he would walk the bases loaded in an effort to strike everyone out.
Oh, I was wrong. He led the league in walks 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times, it looks like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 times.
And they're like,
sometimes he led the majors in walks and strikeouts.
And everyone flates him for, getting guys off the plate. And it's like, well, yeah, that's great. But when you're walking 10 guys a game, it's not so,
it's not as great.
No.
I'm looking at this.
Could be greater.
In one season, 202 walks and 367 strikeouts. Same year.
Yeah, that's the thing is that the more the guy talked about Nolan Ryan, the less impressed I was with him.
Wow. That's a lot.
Too bad.
332 innings that year.
Yeah, and then he would go, tell the story about when Nolan did this, and then he would tell the story, and then you would be like, well, why'd you ask him to tell it? It's not a very good story.
No, tell it. You're doing great. Yeah, good job.
He was like, tell the story about when when Billy Martin and they played the Tigers. He goes, well, and then it's just like Billy Martin, used to be really hard on him. And then you're like, oh.
I like when Lord Russo is coaching the caller, too. He's like, you're doing great. You're going, now tell that story. Go. Do it.
That's what he does. Yeah. He's like, tell the story about when Denny McClain and him, and you're like, and then he tells the story, and you're like, I don't want this book. He had him on for. I love it. I listened to it. It was actually. I think.
I just like
really
his voice.
talented.
I like his energy. I like
his energy
voice,
is really great. No, his energy is fantastic. If he was on in the morning, you'd want to kill him, but in the afternoon, it's fine. But it's good. I think he's really talented. Rollins guy. We stick together.
Mm-hmm.
He's much older than me, by the way, which also makes me very happy. But I listened to it. He had him on for 45 minutes. It was interesting. This time of year, I didn't realize how bad Nolan Ryan was. He wasn't so great. It was, if the object again is winning, a lot of non-wins in that whole situation, including in the playoffs where he was not very good. I guess outside of his run with the Mets there at the beginning. Mm-hmm. All right, we'll be back in just a moment. We'll stop talking about Jaylen Brown when he stops talking about himself. So there's more Jaylen Brown for the 17th day in a row. We will have that for you.